Didn't ask me the key question I've been practicing forever.
Which one?
We have to stop filming, haven't we?
No, you're good. We can cut it. What was the question?
I have been stressing about the eat question, and she knew an immediate answer.
Oh, we can ask at I am so bad at the intricacies.
No, it's okay.
She has been just all about this question.
So, welcome to the Slightly Serious Sign Podcast, brought to you by Wensco Sign Supply, the #1 podcast in the sign and graphics industry for news, events, new products, and customer success stories. If you want to know what's going on or you want to grow your sign shop, you're in the right place. Here is one, some, or all of your hosts, Mike, Tyler, and Domingo. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Slightly Serious Sign Podcast. As you can see, we're here at the ISA show still. We're in the Make It Happen Signage Academy booth before the show doing a podcast. So thank you guys for joining me. Appreciate it. If you want to do a quick intro, who are you? How long you been in the industry? And kind of what your role is here with Make It Happen.
Okay, so I'm Sam Armstrong. I'm the founder and CEO of Make It Happen Signage Consultancy, Signage Academy. I've been in the industry for 25 years as what you would call a wholesaler, we would call a trade supplier. That's basically my role, and probably my biggest passion is working with people, which is a good thing because that's what we do.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I've been in the signage industry for 12 plus years, really focused on the manufacturing side. I always give credit to my hubs. He's the one who started my education, and I've grown from there. And I am the partner of Make It Happen Signage Academy, obviously covering all of the US and Canada, because we have been to Canada. And then I am the proud founder of Women in Signs, etc. It is a women's only focus group for us in the signage industry.
Perfect. The question we like to ask at the beginning is, if you could eat anywhere with anyone or anywhere with anyone in any location, where would it be?
Okay, so she doesn't want to answer this question.
That's fine. We'll let her pass.
This is the one I practiced, so it was really easy. So it would be in a hot tub with a Corona with Chris Hemsworth.
And why did
Very straightforward.
Why did I say, these questions are great? I am stuck on the who would I eat with? She's like, really? And I said, I know, Sam. And I literally said it.
She knew. We did. I said, you know what my answer is going to be? I mean, when I landed, this was like torture. So I was on a plane for 10 hours. And my business partner knows me very well. So she had a bottle of Corona sat on the front seat. Okay, which was wonderful. So got off the plane, 10 hours, right? Okay, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or 2 o'clock actually by the time we got here. There was no bottle opener.
We didn't think about
this
that.
This was like torture, okay? So, but the worst thing was, Tyler, I've got all of these key rings in my bag. I've got about 250 of them, which are bottle openers, but they're packed religiously in this case, which is at the bottom. So I'm just salivating over this Corona all the way there.
She just teased you the whole time instead.
I didn't even think about that.
So
I was like, oh yeah.
So it's
one job Bob, whatever I would have called her.
That's so funny. The funny part is I have a bottle opener in my backpack, and it's because I think one time we had the same situation happen where we went somewhere, we got bottles, we all sat down, and we're all like, so how are we going to open these? Yeah. And then we're like, we should probably just start bringing one.
Well, and it's funny. So shout out to Libby, our business development. She has a very creative way of opening them. So she was like, well, Libs does it, and she's doing something with her hand. I'm like, you're going to slice your hand the day before the show.
She has a ring on her middle finger, and she literally goes and just opens it. I'm not like, where is Libby now when I need her? So I took this thumb ring off and put it on this one and started to do it. And I literally thought I was going to remove my thumb.
Didn't work out,
This is not what you actually want to record, is it?
No, this is perfect. This is perfect.
But I mean, that's actually what works. We know, I think when people meet us, they're like, how long have you guys known each other? Because we know each other so well. I'll never forget when we were flying to Vegas and she had got there before me. I'm coming down enough to get texts, and I get a text, and there's a pole and with a chair that it says Wendy's Wendy Spot, I'm missing you with like a towel. And she's like waiting on me. Right. And so it's like, we know each other really well, and it makes for just a great partnership, and we have tons of fun. Right. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Last night we were like proper belly laughing because we're doing a Devil Wears Prada. So we call it the ladies work hard with the release of the new film on the 1st of May. So we did one at Christmas time. We got like, she's never watched it. I mean, just like, you know, do your homework, girlfriend.
Yeah. You should have prepped her ahead of time. You got to send her that ahead of time so she can watch it.
Absolutely.
Homework.
But honestly, Tyler, you wait till we see the video. We had so much fun making it.
Awesome.
I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Awesome.
I know. I didn't know that her and Libby were actresses before. So apparently that's now a part of my new role. We do small movies.
Yeah, you got to be prepared now. I'm just jumping in here real quick to say, first of all, sorry, we had an issue on the recording here. So the question ended up getting cut off, and part of the answer from before got cut off. So there might be a little bit that you're missing of context, but for the most part, you should get most of what they're saying. And there's a lot of value here. So we didn't want to cut anything out. But the question I had asked them was, you guys are running this company from 2 different countries. How exactly does that work? And do you guys have any difficulty doing that? So that's the question, and hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the episode.
Yeah, so as Sam mentioned, it started there. And she had, at that point when we met, I think you were running for 7 years. Is that right? 7 years by the time that we met and connected. And so it's just like anything else. When you see something that's successful, I mean, Make It Happen Signage Consultancy in the UK is very well respected. There has been, over 4,000 attendees come through. Why would I change anything? So when we connected and started looking at the US market, I very much mimic what she's doing with my own personal flair and our aluminum and different words that we use, and our inches, those types of things that we work through. But the main difference that I will say when we look back on it now, everyone comes to her. So again, she has a training center in one location. I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm like, wow, is anyone going to come to me from California? We are really, really big. So immediately I was like, okay, this can work, but we have to be different. Same thing. That's where the host partners came in, and utilizing facilities and gracious sign companies who's like, no, come to me. I would love to have this. I believe in what you're all doing. So having those key partnerships and really making it accessible to, someone to drive an hour or two as opposed to flying across the country. Now, I do love our training center, and I love my partnership with Ivy Tech, but I realize that people aren't going to always travel. But they do. In February, I had someone fly in from Houston, DC, because again, this is a very unique program. And when you need training, you need training. I mean, that's why people are here now. We all flew here. So while it's different, it's very much the same because it's been successful.
It's interesting because when you're actually at a show like this and people are like, oh, I don't have the time. You're wandering around a show. You do have time.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things with training. It's almost like the last thing people think of. I think people are quite happy to invest in equipment to get them the biggest and the best. And I can print white or whatever else they're doing, getting very excited. Actually, Tyler, do you actually invest in you? Yeah. You and the people that people are buying from. People are buying from Wendy, Sam, Tyler. They're not buying from Make It Happen. They're buying into you as a brand and you as the people.
Yeah. I always find it funny when, when you're out making sales calls or whatever and you walk into a sign shop, which is like what we're doing, right? And it's like, oh, I'm way too busy. And you're just like, it doesn't really seem that busy in here oftentimes. And I think what happens is, and this isn't a dig on them at all, I think what happens is they do feel extremely busy, right? There's a lot going on all the time. There's a lot kind of pending. So it always feels like you're busy. And well, we always tell them, like, when we're doing like wrap class training and all that kind of stuff, it's like, if you just, like, we try and put them out far enough ahead of time. If you put it on the calendar, you will miraculously find a way that your work will get done, you know, the Friday before, Monday, and the Friday after. And those 3 days where you thought there's no way I can do it, it will just kind of happen as long as you kind of make the effort to schedule it and put it in the books, which is the same thing they're doing for trade shows and for anything else, right? For vacation, like you always find a way to do it. But I think training is at one where they're like, oh, I definitely don't have time for that in my schedule, but
and it leads into the processes. As she mentioned, you set up processes and steps for your sales teams, for your designers. Are we asking questions? Because we have to admit, we waste a lot of time with clients when we don't ask certain questions. So I'm almost like, how can we capture more of our time to do the things that we actually need to get done instead of running around with do you say our heads cut off like chickens? Okay. And so, you know, that's a lot of our shops because we're just not set up for success with proper questions, proper processes that cause a lot of reworks and a lot of this wasn't called out on the artwork. So it's things like that I think do us in.
Yeah. I mean, we did a podcast yesterday with Onyx and their Align software, which is a production software, right, to help people run their shops. And these are the same type of questions I'm asking them. We're like, what are you seeing customers that move over to it? And a lot of them are like, they didn't realize how much time was just in, like, I get a request, I fulfill the request. And maybe those are 30 seconds at a time, right? But when you take those away, how much brain, like, capacity you gain just by not having to just yes, no, yes, no, yes, no 30 times a day for very simple things. And all that is just setting up a process so that the one person who feels like they don't have time can actually get some of their time back. So
I think people don't also value their time. So when we're running the boot camps, we actually say, if I was going to rent you by the hour, this sounds wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But if I was going to rent you by the hour, what would you charge me? And it's very interesting where they might say, like for the graphic designer, they might say, oh, $30. And then as the founder and CEO, oh, I think about 50. Is that how little you value yourself? Think that, you know, we try and make training fun, and I do come out with some really random things that she just splutters. I mean, one of her coffees nearly projectile came out of her mouth because of what I came out with. But it's just like, if you can make it engaging, if you can make it fun, people remember.
Yeah.
You know, we had some guys come back each year because they just loved our class because it was fun. They learned things because that's really important. We want to make sure they get a return of investment. But if you can just make education more fun, and we often find like once one person has been from a company, then you then get multiple because they then see the value of it. But it's like anything. Oh, you know, training or how much does it cost? And also the thing of which we heard a few times yesterday. Oh, I've been doing this for 25 years. We're all learning something new every single day. And we just had in the UK somebody of 35 years experience. He is now sending 10 of his staff because he couldn't believe how much he had taken from it. And I think if you're blinkered, well, first of all, just don't bother coming, please, because you'll just put everybody else down. But, you know, if you want to be the difference, if you want to stand out, then you have to be on the Make It Happen programs. Very easy.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. We always talk about people that are, when they come in, it's really common in our wrap class, someone will come in and be like, oh, we've been doing this 10 years, 12 years.
Yeah.
And sometimes you almost are having to teach them harder than I had to teach the person that just came in. So we always make a joke that you can have 10 years of good experience, or you can have been doing it wrong for 10 years, which is just 10 years of compounded bad experience. And a lot of times, if you've been doing it a long time, there's going to be a few things that are in that bucket, right? Where it's, oh, we've been doing it this way. And then somebody shows you, like, it can happen in hands-on training, especially, right? Where somebody shows you this one thing and you're like, I've done this. It's taken me 4 times as long for 12 years because nobody showed me this one little trick, right? And that happens in very hands-on work, but that also happens on the business side, right? Where when someone shows you a process you can implement and you're like, you're telling me the 4 hours I spent on Friday night, I could just let someone else do that? And you're like, yeah, if you wanted to, you could. So I always find that interesting. But How much of your training is in the process, sales, marketing, and how much of it is in hands-on, how to build cabinets, how to build channel letters, that kind of thing?
I mean, it's definitely not a 50-50. I would say what I think our program does amazingly well is it integrates it throughout the boot camps. So while we might be watching a slide and having a discussion, we will then pop over and then do an activity. Because, what did you do well with this? What has been a pitfall for you that you've had to overcome? We'll have a discussion. This is the best practices. Okay, now let's walk over to this table and let's do it. And everyone's going to do it because we specifically have 10 to 12 people in the class, which allows for a lot of hands-on, a lot of collaboration. And so throughout the day, you look up and you're like, oh, it's 3:30. Like people don't even it's like they could go 10 more hours because it is so fun. And so, yeah, I don't think it's quite a 50-50, but there are so many applications throughout that you're going to leave saying, okay, I can sell this now. I can sell this different. Oh, I've learned how to make this better. I've heard about how to solve this problem. It's almost like across the board. And it's not any one division I feel like outweighs the other. I don't know what's your thought.
I think it's, in the UK, I would have said that sort of the hands-on part is only probably 20% of it. But it's difficult to quantify because the whole time you're picking things up and passing it around and making people feel the weight of something. And I remember somebody getting a channel letter and smelling it because it had got moss inside it. How do you do that online? Right?
Yeah.
So the amount of times people pick up a piece of block acrylic, inch and a bit, because you're rubbish inches. Inch and a bit.
3/8.
That 3/8. Everything's 3/8 of an inch. And, it's a foot high. I'm trying to suddenly go into your measurements. And people go, oh, it's heavy. Yes. So if this comes down on somebody's head, but how could you get that? How could you get that interaction with sort of 8 to 10 people in a room? And I think this is one of the things that brings me, as the owner, and again with my partner, is the sheer collaboration. So you'll have a group of 10 to 12 people who join in the morning, probably not knowing each other. And you can't get rid of them in the afternoon because they've formed this sort of like, oh, it's so good to know that you've got the same challenges as us. You can't do that online. I don't know if that's on one of your questions. It probably was, but no.
Yeah.
It isn't one of your questions. But it's, with AI, etc. Somebody was asking me about it yesterday. I was just like, well, we're going to have to fight. We're going to have to work hard. I totally know that. But as I said, I think once people have been on and they touch, feel, sniff, hug the person next door, they totally get it. They really do.
Do you think there's an element to where online training can also assist with in-person training, or do you think in-person training is the way to go for it?
Yeah, I think I actually think a combination of both, but I think you'll probably get an awful lot of people. We've all got different personalities and different learning styles, but I think sometimes online you can sort of drift in, start reading a bit and then go away from it and then maybe come back for a little bit more and then put the washing machine on. Do you call it a washing machine?
Yes, we do.
That's okay. So, then you're hoovering and then the kids are crying, whatever. So actually your attention to it, you can float in and out. Now that might be somebody's style, that might be how, but I think that process is going to take longer. But I guess at the same token, you could then keep on referring to it. Happy days. I think with the in person, is for any reason Tyler started to nod off, he wouldn't, because we are on you.
Yeah.
Because it's a really long day. I'm very realistic of that. 8:30 to 4:30. That's a long time to sit and listen. But I think that's why it's so much more engaging. And I think, to be honest with you, Tyler, I don't think it's about just what we're saying. I think actually listening to the experiences of the other people in the room as well. I'm not saying somebody else has got to start coming running the training program, but actually listening to people's challenges. Actually, we did this. This worked really well for us. Well, I'm just, apart from sustainability, I'm just not going to go online. So if you see me online in 5 years' time, you can come and repeat this at me and say, yeah, Sam Armstrong, go back on yourself. I don't know, but I want to keep doing it in person.
And to piggyback off what she says, it is, we get asked a lot. Please go online. People who've even attended, please do the next one or a 2.0 online. And to her point, it's just hard to bring. We're in custom signage and print, right? It's just like asking someone to do a rap class online. Yep. You can learn some fundamentals and then go into class. And that's what we suggest. We say all of the time, there are amazing online platforms, right? ISA has them, Printing United Alliance. Everyone is dropping these amazing content. YouTube, there was a gentleman here yesterday who was like, I've learned everything on YouTube. Wonderful. But sometimes the collaboration of the people in the room, they might say, don't ever do this. And here's why. You're not going to necessarily hear that from an online 30-minute hour program. And so it's very important. And exactly what she said about the engagement together. I have now, about slide 3 in the morning, I've said, we're going to be best friends. And they're all like, it's 9 a.m., coffee, donuts. They're like, we're not going to be best friends is what they're thinking. I'm like, no, by 10:15, we're going to be best friends. And they start to laugh. And then by like 11, we're best friends. It's like it's just something that you can't really explain. But then what also makes me very proud of our program is then it encourages people to also work together. And I will not forget, I was in Jersey doing a event, and Jersey people are fun anyways, right? Well, come to find out, the person across from them was right down the street, like a mile and a half. They're having all these great conversations. They then found out some of the things that they didn't want to do. And they were like, oh, we're connecting after this. I'm going to start sending them this and that. Again, if we're all little squares on a monitor, that just doesn't happen as much. And so I think that's really important because it's almost creating like a little network of people that have met people. And that's what we want to do too. We want to promote each other's strengths and then work together for the weaknesses. So
the thing we've seen is one of our the rap training we did last year, we did I think it was like a 4-hour online training that was due before they showed up to class. And a lot of that was all the stuff that you're going to go through on PowerPoint anyways. And you're just saying like, okay, if we want to have the best use of our time, here's the stuff that you can go through beforehand. And oftentimes that stuff is like, even if you didn't go through it, we would still get through our stuff. But this is beneficial. But if we're going to use the best use of our time, let's do that. And I think that was the best use of a online and in-person training that I had seen, which was basically just like, okay, we only have 8 hours, so let's make sure that 8 hours is as productive as possible. So let's offload what we're going to waste 2 hours in the morning doing and have you do that at home. And other than that, though, I agree. The only way it works, I think, is in person. When we do all of our trainings and always ask at the end, like, oh, what was your key takeaway? It's always the most random stuff. It's never like, oh, yeah, I learned how to wrap a whole car. It's like, yeah, I learned when I'm doing the front bumper, if you pull it just this right direction, it works better than if I pull it the other direction. And you'd be like, how would I ever have shown you that in a video? And even if we were doing like you were on the other end and asking me questions and I was showing it to you on video, like it just does not, it doesn't transfer the same as it does in person. So
special thanks this month to SIL, GFP, and General Formulations. You can check out their products at wensco.com.
So you guys have been doing this for a few years now. Is there something you think our industry has gotten better at or worse at or some of each in those 5 years?
Oh, that's a hard question. That's going to be a bleeper.
I think it kind of goes back to what we were saying a while back about the bad habits. That's just with anything when you're in an industry for a long time. And so I think sometimes it feels like we are wanting to improve as an industry. A lot of people will say, we need more education. We need more of this. So I don't know. I think it's really hard to see, like, to properly answer that question. But I think that some of the who are you and what are you doing? Like, I think that's kind of going away a little bit because people are welcoming more training opportunities. But yeah, that's, and I'm like, I don't know if that was on our list, Tyler.
Yeah, that's quizzing me. But I think one thing that I am seeing from quite a lot of the trade associations, which I think is really good, is all about the next generation. That's really important because people on the boot camp only a couple of weeks ago went, we knew about signs and print, but we didn't even think about how they were made or who made them or anything like that. And I think then when they joined and I had absolutely no idea it was so creative, because I think when people think about signs, they're thinking about street signs, aren't they? Or something that's really boring, not something that's made of concrete or our little Lego characters. I think I could have sold about 10 of these yesterday.
I thought that was very funny. I saw that.
Department, take a number. Oh, break it as well.
There's the number.
There's the number. We're all about to explode. But I think, the next generation, I think that's a really important thing. I mean, sustainability to a degree, but I'm speaking to people yesterday here. It didn't seem that much interest. And I was about, look, it's not a load of rubbish. And they're like, oh, listen to what you just said. Yeah, I said that on purpose, right? Because I heard it before. It's not a load of rubbish. And I think, again, it could be one of your key differentiators. Because in the UK, there's a couple of companies in particular that's what they've gone, sustainability. And they are doing really well because they're offering something different. Like I stand. Yeah. Be different.
And that is coming. Like, as much as here in the States, we're just ignoring it in the meantime, but it's definitely around the corner.
It's not going away.
The other thing I think with you partnering with who you partnered with is a good example of this. The design side of the signage industry, the joke that you hear all the time here is anyone going to get like an arts degree, right? Is just like, oh yeah, so you just want to like starve. And I always tell people, like, if we could only explain to those people how many people in the signage industry need graphic designers and artists and all of these hands-on, like the crafts is one thing, right? Obviously we need welders and we need fabricators and we need all of those things, but we need so many people on that side of things many of them never even think about the signage industry as one of those avenues. And I say they may employ just as many as any of the other industries that are out there for graphic designers and web designers and all of that stuff. And nobody ever thinks about it until you like bring it up to them and be like, well, I got like 9 people right now I could tell you, be like, if you're new graphic design, I know someone hiring, right?
Yeah.
And
I think also, that's one of the, possibly in the UK, I find it really frustrating that people will go to a design agency and pay £5,000 to £7,000 for a design pack. And yet, if you go to maybe a smaller sign shop, they expect the design for free.
Yeah.
Why would it be free? I think it's probably the most undervalued role. And, it's incredible how much is the same apart from we put an I in aluminium. But there are so many things that are the same. Yeah. It's untrue, really, isn't it? Same challenges, same issues, same price rises that price increases at the moment. And, people, I think that's, again, one of our big things is people going away and feeling inspired and enthused, maybe to try something a little bit different rather than just, oh, here's another ACM panel with some fire. That's really boring. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't get excited about that.
Yeah.
So find something that does ignite and excite and, people.
No one gets excited when you share on social media that you just did a new Taco Bell sign. It's just a pan face, letters on the front, backlit. You're like, we've seen this 4,000 times, right? Yeah. And a lot of times, if you're dealing with that kind of company, right, you don't have a lot of options on what you're making for them. But oftentimes you do have a choice. And when they come and ask for something, you have an option to give them just a rectangle sign and put it on a monument and call it a day, or give them something interesting. And I think the customers in the sign shops that I know that make interesting signage are the biggest ones that I know of, right? It's the ones that people reach out to and go to, and they're doing installs, here in the States, 12, 14, 16 hours away from their location because they found about them and sought them out when there was probably 100 other sign shops in between where they installed and who actually installed it. So I think that's interesting. But who do you think gets the most value out of your training? Is it owners? Is it sales reps of the companies? Is it production?
Keep going. Keep on going.
Yeah. And that's a really difficult one, because at the end of the day, it's the owner that's going to benefit long term.
Yeah.
Because he's got educated staff.
Yeah.
So, that one for me is an absolute no-brainer. But I don't think I've ever found a role that doesn't fit somewhere within. And although my perception might be, I don't think it's for production staff. As you said, we do have a production staff. I just want to be really clear that we're not teaching people how to make signs.
Yeah.
In the fabrication facility in the UK, a company called SignFab, who we have our training facility with, can you imagine them opening the doors to these 3,000 people? And all of that R&D that they've done over the last 25 years, people just walking in and copying.
Yeah.
How do you think that would go? But I think even going back to when we talked about, host partners, you must have had it as well. When people walk in, they go, I didn't know you did this.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
How did you not know? Because you think your marketing's really good, right? But I don't think there's a role that we would go, do you know what? Absolutely, we would guide people to what we thought was the right program, but everybody benefits. And I always say to people that the cost of our boot camp is literally one return to site when you muck up. Is muck up a word for you?
Yeah.
When things go wrong?
Yeah.
That was polite, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. No, I always find it interesting. Like return work is some of the most expensive work that's out there. And a lot of times I don't think anyone factors that into their work at all.
No.
And they don't put a process in if it goes wrong, right? They could have done it wrong 10 times all year and nobody knew that it was actually the same mistake. It was one guy did it wrong 10 times, not because he's bad at his job. I mean, maybe he could be bad at his job, right? But sometimes it's just nobody taught him how to do it the first time. And he's just
exactly that.
I haven't heard anything. This has worked every time for me.
I remember walking into a business and they actually put their NCRs, non-conformance reports. They actually recorded them every month.
Yeah.
And we are talking about thousands and thousands. And they actually shared that with the staff, the NCRs, on a board every month, what they'd done in terms of targets, etc. But also that, because it's a really key factor, because when everybody's going, we need a pay rise. Okay, well, we just need to look at that $5,000 price tag, things going wrong, and actually using that as a tool to actually identify training needs or people being wasteful with materials.
Yeah.
There's so many ways, isn't there?
Well, and if I can back to that original question a second ago, I've had some amazing sign companies open up their doors. For example, Matt with Baker's Signs and Tim with Ruggles, they have welcomed us in for tours or even hosted us the whole day. And people love it, right? And because it's exactly what she does. They get to walk through and see. And I'm very transparent. And I ask that question, are you okay with knowing that sign companies are coming through? And they're like, absolutely. Back to your point, because we all do about the same thing, right? A sign is a sign is a sign, but it's how do you sell differently? What's your team culture? Like all of these things is what makes these individual companies so unique and amazing. But it's just a real benefit to see some of that processing. And we do try to pull a lot of that in to the boot camps that we run here. Because again, over here, I mean, even just yesterday, I think I talked to 2 or 3 people that's like, I primarily print, but I'm going full steam ahead. I'm buying benders and I'm doing this. And okay, that's wonderful. It's your, business model. But a lot of people over here want to manufacture. And so they do call and say, do you have machines? Are we going to see them bending? No, we're not. And who knows, maybe down the road we will. But right now we do small bits of things that you can take back and then make some improvements and see and touch and feel. But we're not running a channel letter bender and actually doing that in the class.
Yeah. Baker is a great example of everything we just talked about. He's the one, like when I comes to my mind, I say there's some people that do it differently and they are busy as can be. He would be one of them. Sometimes he puts out a sign where I just have to look at it and be like, I have absolutely no clue how you put that together. Like if you didn't show it to me, I would just be like, it doesn't make sense. I know my warehouse has stuff that went into that sign and I still have no clue how you made it. But that's the type of stuff where if they've done it so long and they're so creative that they just come up with stuff where you're just like, I wouldn't even think about that. But that's what training can do as well, is show you something where you haven't seen it before. We had a designer come to one of our wrap classes and go through the training, right? She had never wrapped a vehicle before, right? She had designed hundreds of wraps for cars, right? And so she comes, she sees how the process works, and she sees the headache that can be when we're talking about, hey, if you put a design through a door panel, it can become annoying when you go to line those two panels up, because if it goes left or right or up or down, it's almost impossible. And she's like, I always run my designs directly through the door. And I was like, if the installer never relays that message back, you may never know unless you get into a training and someone shows you like, hey, if you just do this like one tweak, it's not a lot. It's not going to cost you any time. And as long as you or send it to the installer before you send it out to the customer, you can save hours. And that's something I think training offers often is just a way to do these little tweaks, little adjustments, and save hours or dollars, which I mean, time and money are almost on the same line. So that's interesting. But
well, and if you don't mind, Tyler, I was going to say one thing that a segment that I believe would have great value from attending is vendors. So we have had a good handful of vendors come through, and they're like, oh, that's what my sheet of acrylic turns into. Because in all fairness, you walk through your all's warehouses and they are amazing, but it's flat material. And I will never forget, I will not say the name, but I will never forget, we were doing a training with some vendors, and I said, hey, let's do some trim capping. And I mean, I was in tears. I was laughing so hard. I love them, but I'm like, they didn't know how to even start. And we were having a ball with these, vendors, and it just goes to show there's an assumption. You are the expert for all the material you sell, but you don't get that opportunity to see the full circle. And I think that it's a real investment that people can make. And I believe they would see their sales go up because they can relate. They can answer questions if they needed a little bit with more confidence. And so having them in the room is amazing because they offer that substrate and materials guidance. And then the sign shops are like, what do you mean you don't know it looks like this? And so it really, really works. And I hope to see more in the future attend. Yeah.
I think sometimes you make assumptions about how the product works until you see it in person. And I also think it goes the other way too, where sometimes you think something is really complex. Like anytime we've ever shown anyone LEDs, right? Like they're just like, that's all it takes. It's like literally put two wires together, plug it in. It works pretty much most of the time. And some people are so scared if they've never done it before. It seems so foreign until you show it to them. So that's interesting.
I think that's a really good point as well. And I think I know, speaking to one of the franchises in the UK and him actually saying that our boot camps allowed him to go to the next level, as in he took on projects he would not have even considered before because he would have been scared, or as you say, LEDs, how they're going to work. I distinctly remember him saying he doubled his turnover in the last year from being on the boot camps, and actually just having the confidence to say yes as opposed to no. Yeah,
I always think it's interesting. In 2026, G2G and Wensko will launch two new products into the market. The one is the United Stick, which is a high efficiency, affordable, and reliable product for your sign and lighting projects. The second is LumaLink, which has a power pin design that's made to be cut and done anywhere in the field or in your shop. This is for small channel letters or any large projects. Check them out at Wensko.com. This episode is brought to you by Arlon Graphics, trusted for innovative high-performance cast vinyls. Check out their newest product, DPF V9500, a non-PVC polyurethane wall film built to tackle ultra-textured surfaces like a pro. More exciting new products to come soon from Arlon. Check them all out at wensco.com. The other question I had, we kind of briefly touched on it, but what everyone thinks with AI coming down the pipeline and all the advancements on that side, people think that training and information are the first two things that AI wants to take over. How do you feel that's going to work with what you guys have going on and just with how training works in general? Do you think it'll impact it positively, negatively, a mix?
Yeah, I mean, any of the AI courses right now, when you have the speakers and stuff, I mean, they're just drawing in the attendees, right? Because it's so new to us. But here's my thought. We're in custom signs, right? And AI is not going to be able to physically make a product. A lot of times people are worried about the designers right now. And designers have told me, a lot of them have honestly told me they're not quite worried yet because it's not perfect, right? They can't take these designs that Chat and other is creating and then actually bring them to life. So someone else is still having to look back, create better files. I think what the problem I see is the client expectation, because they're building these signs with Chat and other and then showing up at a sign shop with like, here's what I need you to build, or here's the file. So again, we're going to have to be prepared. How do we answer that? How do we tell them that's not going to work? So I don't know. I think maybe am I naive? Maybe am I like whatever? But I just feel like right now it's okay. Like it's going to help us, and I hope be more efficient. When we were talking about, well, I have no time to come to training. We'll learn how to do automated emails and capture more time. Do those type of things. But I personally think we're okay right now. Please don't let me regret this in 5 years.
Yeah.
It's like anything when it's new. Everybody's like jumping on the bandwagon of, oh, this is exciting. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I was excited a couple of weeks ago when it managed to draw up 3 contracts in the space of 5 minutes.
That's helpful.
Imagine, trying to do that. But again, only last week receiving something that you could see had been AI generated, and there was absolutely no way we could make it.
Yeah.
So somebody's going to be spending a lot of time working out what's in all of these brains of people that have been doing it 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. I think we'll be okay, but we have to adapt, right?
Yes.
For sure. Yeah.
Let's see what's happening, adapt to it. And then when I see you and I go, oh, okay, I've gone online, then you can say, oh, well, there you are.
Got him. Got him.
And I will say one of the conversations does come up quite a bit in class is how do people feel about using AI generated images as their marketing strategy? So, they're creating these beautiful monument signs and these things, and then they're presenting them as work that they've completed. And that was a really good conversation at a boot camp some months back. And more than half of the room thought that you're faking it. Like you're being an imposter. You're not able to pull these projects off. Put your real work out. You could say this is an inspiring design that we love and we'd love to help a brand do it. But it was a very a firm that is fake. Don't do it. And I thought that was just such an engaging conversation. So, I don't know. That would be good to dive a little bit more in and how us as an industry is viewing others using it. But, everyone has reasons. So
I definitely think it has its uses right now. I think some of the negatives we've seen is customers thinking they know the answer because AI has told them the answer and you having to explain to them that that's not true. And then them being convinced that AI knows more than you do, which is like, okay, technically they have more information available than I do, but I can tell you from experience of having tried it that it won't work. And the other helpful part on the design side, at least, is I always joke that as someone who has zero ability to actually work a graphic design software, but also is in charge of doing a lot of that work, it has been helpful to at least hand something to a designer to be like, this is where my mind is at, right? Versus before, I would give them something, they'd give it back to me. I'd be like, we're not even close. The words I gave you and what you saw in your head weren't the same. So that has been helpful, but yeah, oftentimes it absolutely does not do a good job at putting anything out that's print ready or wrap ready or sign ready, anything like that. So yeah, I don't think it's coming for us for a while, but no, this was a great conversation. I hope your guys' training goes really well. I think it's needed in the industry, and I hope it helps a lot of people. Is there anything else you guys wanted to add? If someone's on the fence about doing the training, what kind of would you say to them to get them to sign up and try it?
Well, I mean, I think as a whole, our industry sometimes waits because they're waiting for their calendar to open. And I tell people all of the time, I mean, it's 10 seats for a reason. So if you need support, if you're tired of making mistakes, if you want to add some spark, back into your team, like, don't wait, sign up, get that seat for them, because at the end of the day, you're not going to regret it. We have a guaranteed ROI. And I have told people, Sam has never told me she's given 1 penny back from that request, because you leave well more than what you paid for the program. And so, just don't wait especially in the US, when I'm coming to the city, grab that seat, because they're probably going to be gone. And I just don't know when I might be back as a close. I will always welcome you to the Midwest. Come on over to Louisville. Well, they say South, but I call us the Midwest still. Just don't wait. Pull the trigger.
Yeah, I am definitely going to back that, because it's so many programs people come on and they go, I wish I had done this years ago. You have covered so many mistakes I have made, and it's cost me thousands. So yeah, I'm right up there. Invest in your biggest asset. It's you and your staff. Simple.
That's perfect. Well, thank you guys.